Hey, all you rad dads out there.
Cool. Well, Slade, thanks for taking the time to stop by the Rad Dad show. I'm going to start the way we always do by asking, who are you?
Who am I? So my name is Slade Echeverria. I play bass and I sing in a band called Anarbor from Phoenix, Arizona. We've been a band for like 20 some years now, so it's been quite the journey.
Crazy.
But thanks for having me on the show, man. I'm really stoked to be here.
Yeah, you bet. So Ann Arbor, obviously, and there's some cool stuff going on with Ann Arbor we'll talk about, but you're also a dad.
Yes, I am. I have a stepdaughter, and then I have a 1.5-year-old right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's keeping you
I
busy, I'm
got
sure.
two sides of it. Yeah, definitely keeping me busy. But I've got a little bit of experience from the older one now. That the little one is a little bit easier, honestly.
And so you have a stepdaughter. Your youngest is it a boy?
He's a boy. Yes, his name's Levi.
Okay, cool, Levi. Yeah. So I guess you've sort of so we've got like a pandemic baby.
Exactly.
Right?
Honestly, right before the pandemic, we found out that my lady was pregnant, and then everything shut down. So it was kind of perfect in a way. I know that there's a lot of a lot of bad things to say about it, but in a way, it kind of worked out really nice for me because I got to take some time off. I got to take care of her. I got to spend time with my newborn baby, which is, I wouldn't have been able to do that if the band was, touring and stuff.
Yeah, it's like guilt-free time off, right? Guilt-free.
Exactly. Guilt-free and nothing to worry about. Kind of keeping everybody safe. So it worked out really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a few people like that we've talked to recently, and I even got some friends and stuff who've had kids during the pandemic have sort of said the same thing. Like there have been some challenges with that too, like, depending how things went with the hospital and all of that kind of stuff. Not being able to have visitors and whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think like my 5-year-old, she's having a hard time, socializing because she hasn't been around a lot of kids because she's been trapped inside. So we'll go to the grocery store and she's like waving to kids, and it's like, oh man, she wants to play so bad. We'll drive by a school and she's like, I want to go play with kids, and it's like, oh man, we need to get it's really sad because I would be hanging out with kids in my street playing hockey and soccer and stuff. It's just a little bit different world for these kids.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kind of dealing with some of the same stuff with my kids as well. Not so much I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, but my 3-year-old, like from basically being 1-year-old to 3, like never got to see anybody except for us.
Yeah.
And you can tell, so it's like, how do you like work around that now that things are kind of opened up and stuff? Like, have you guys sort of tried anything to, I guess, address that? Or
so we always try to keep her, active and social. We always try to go to my parents' house. So it's interesting. When I had my son, my sister and my brother both had a baby on the way as well. So we all had a baby within the same year, which has actually helped a lot because, all the cousins and stuff can hang out. And every Sunday we go to my parents' house, we bring the kids together. So that's what we're really trying to do, is kind of keep them socially active. I mean, now that everything's opening back up, I mean, we've taken her to like the children's museum and there's plenty of kids there and stuff. And I mean, the park is still kind of a little sketchy for me, but we're trying,
Yeah, it's tough. Like with kids, you want to expose them to a little bit more, but if you're kind of cautious about some of the COVID stuff, like kids just like getting each other's faces, you're just like, okay, exactly. Well, now they've licked that other kid. Like
exactly. So you gotta kind of be careful, but we try to keep it under control, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah, there's no roadmap for this now, right? Like everybody's kind of trying to figure this out.
Really, I mean, you can agree it's completely different. Like I said, from when we were younger, like I'm still trying to grasp my 5-year-old wanting the iPad. I mean, it's like, let's not do the iPad, please. We have other stuff that we can do. I got so many activities we can do. It's like, I mean, but in another sense, they got to learn it. They have to know it because that's the future of this whole world. So it's crazy.
My grade 1 daughter, we got an email the first day of school that was like, yeah, so all the kids need to have a laptop. So, and they have to bring it to school every day. I'm like, what? Like,
what?
Like in grade 1, you need a laptop you have to bring to school every day? First grade. Man. Yeah. So you're right. Like they do have to sort of know, like, this is kind of the world we live in, I guess. But how do you, I guess you're kind of entering that right now. Like, what's your feeling on kind of screen time and all that stuff?
Yeah, we definitely try to keep the iPad only towards like nighttime, which is getting kind of tired and stuff. Um, but when I see my son, go up to her, while she's on the iPad, it's like he also knows how to do it. Like he'll
Yeah.
go and touch stuff, and I'm like, it's crazy how fast they can learn, and they make that easy for you to learn. So it makes sense, but it's hard to monitor because she is always asking for the iPad. And we do have, we watch TV, we watch Peppa Pig, Paw Patrol, all that stuff too. So I
Yeah.
try to keep it limited. We try to go outside a lot. We have a nice backyard where we like to, garden and stuff. So try to keep her active, but the screen time is definitely important because there's times when she'll maybe come back from her dad's house and I don't know what's going on, but she'll want the iPad a lot. And it's like we have to kind of set her back around her and be like, hey, this is not how we're gonna, run it. We got other stuff we can do. The iPad can be for later time. So
Yeah. I kind of similar approach for us too. It is tough to kind of manage that because on one hand you're like, okay, this is maybe a good thing, it's a positive thing, in some regards, but you can also like get your kid totally zombified after an hour of staring at the screen too, right? And
yeah,
so
totally.
it's really tough.
I don't want her to be going into school first grade not knowing how to do any of this stuff,
Yep.
because she's gonna feel left out, and then who knows, bullying or who knows, So I also want to make sure that she knows what's going on. So it's important to maybe do like a training thing, or they have like the little leapfrog. We don't have the leapfrog little guys. We actually have an iPad for her, but those are really nice because they have like activities that they can do rather than just watching videos. It's like a zombie.
Yeah, we've had a few of the Leap Pad products over the years and stuff, and they are pretty
Did you like
good.
them?
Yeah, I think so. There's one that we have that like has these books, so you can buy like a book to insert into the device, and then you can change out all the activities. Some of them are kind of like just
That's
built
nice.
in. Some are, I think there's some more expensive ones too that are like they're kind of like an iPad too. You can just download whatever you want. But I like the tactile part of it with the book actually.
Yeah, that's nice. I was gonna say we'll probably go that route when it comes to my little guy, just so he can get a more of like educational view on it. But that's actually really nice to know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it comes with a little like kind of pen attached. I actually have no idea how
Oh,
it
yeah.
works, and they touch like the pages of the book with the pen.
Oh, wow.
And then it like knows what they're touching, and will kind of like talk about it or whatever. So it's good for little kids, and then older kids, there's more stuff that they can kind of do.
You can up the level as they kind of advance with the iPad. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. We were just watching Peppa Pig this morning. It's funny you had mentioned that. And
so are we.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. Have you ever like thought about or noticed that they just really go hard on Daddy Pig? Hey, like Daddy Pig gets no respect in that family, and he's just kind of like the bumbling dad in that show. Hey,
yeah. he totally is, man. He's always getting made fun of. Like what was it like he's always getting dirty or sick, or his pancakes getting stuck to the top. It's always about dad, and everybody's bagging on dad. It's pretty funny.
Have you guys watched Bluey yet?
Oh yeah, we love Bluey.
So Bluey's the complete opposite, where it's like super dad.
Those parents are so awesome. I'm like, wow, you guys are super parents, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know how you have a parent.
Well, they're playing with the kids all day, right? It's like
all day long. It's really funny. They're making like such good activities with them, like all the creative stuff they do. I definitely take notes from that show. It's a great show.
It is actually nice, to see parents modeled. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's just so quick, and it's like the theme song. I'm like, dude, I can't. I need it to go longer so we can get more of a. I don't know. Yeah, it's a fine balance, because some of the shows where it's like 3 or 4 or 5 minutes long. Peppa's kind of that way. It's like not quite long enough, right? And other shows, it's like you put on a 20-minute and it's like, oh, that's too long. That's too, and I'm sure they do it because the attention span of the kids is like nothing. So they try to keep them involved, but as a parent, I'm like, this could go longer.
right, exactly. I need to finish making dinner here. Like,
seriously, bro.
So this is a rad dad show. Do you consider yourself a rad dad?
I absolutely do. I consider myself a pretty cool dad, man. Yeah.
So what's a rad dad? So you're pretty confident in that answer. So what's your definition? How do you define a rad dad?
I try to keep it chill. I don't try to really keep it high energy when it comes to, discipline. I try to be kind of on their level. I also try to keep them in style with everything that's going on. I try to keep them, looking nice, not looking too too sloppy. I don't like taking them out in their pajamas,
Yeah.
making sure they're looking, at least productive, ready to go for the day. I'm also in a band. I
Right.
mean, my stepdaughter thinks it's the coolest thing that I, play guitar and I go on stage. She's like, this is so awesome. And I can't wait for my son to see that. I haven't taken him to a show yet just because of the whole pandemic and stuff, but I'm ready for him to go and I can't wait for him to see that. So I think all the qualities that I have in my life that kind of brought me to this point have made me a rad dad. And along with my lady, she's got pink and blue hair. She's like super kawaii. She wears like the butterflies and all the the Hello Kitty stuff. So I'd say we're a pretty hip couple and pretty rad people. Yeah.
So there's kind of two parts that you talked about, like, you talked about some of those, I guess, ways that you parent, like some discipline stuff and whatever. But then there's like I guess maybe it's when people think of like the word rad, they and maybe in the context of this show, it's like, we're talking to dads who are in rock bands and stuff like that. So there's kind of both of those things, right? That kind of fit into your definition.
Totally, man.
It's neat that your stepdaughter is really into it. Like, I think it always depends. Like, all the people we talk to, some people, it's like their kids kind of get it or know what's going on, and others they kind of don't. And it's neat that she thinks it's cool.
She does thinks it's really cool. I think she's got a great voice. I mean, her OG dad is a great musician as well, so I think she has like a lot of musical skills inside of her. I mean, Encanto is like her favorite movie, and she sings every freaking word to that, and like I love that because her pitch is correct. Like, I'm just so impressed. So it makes me so proud to see her, involved in music and like super excited about it. Because at 5 years old, I wasn't like that at all.
Okay, interesting. So like music's obviously important to you. Is it like important in your house? You talked about like Encanto being on and stuff. Do you guys like, is music sort of a big part of your day-to-day at home?
Yeah, I would say it's not like I'm blasting music throughout the house all the time. If the kids want to hear a song, I'll like throw it on the TV or something. But we definitely have playlists when we jump in the car, we'll throw it on so they're happy. And she knows all the songs that we listen to. My girl loves Dua Lipa, and my 5-year-old's always like, let's play Dua Lipa. So we're always trying to keep them. I definitely am a pop guy, so they definitely listen to a lot of pop. But no shame in that. That's how I grew up as well. So,
well, I think that's natural for a lot of kids too. Like, you start trying to show your kids Black Flag or something like that. Like, it's not going to go well.
Not going to work. Right. No, you're right. Yeah.
So lots of pop music around the house, and then obviously like the Disney stuff. And I mean, the Disney music lately is like, it's amazing. Well, it's always been really good, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. Luca, Encanto. I mean, now it's Turning Red. That one's amazing too. I love the, what is it, the four team or the four guys. Yeah. It's like, they do such a great job, man. And I love how they made that one so like anime as well. It's like, it's really cool.
Yeah, that one's set in Canada, so that was kind of an interesting thing for us to see, like as Canadians. Oh, cool to see that
like
on
some spots you notice. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do they do as like representing that part of the country? Did they do a good job?
I think they did. Yeah, like so. It takes place in Toronto, basically, and so that's sort of in the east and not a place I'm super familiar with, but like the landmarks are all there and stuff like that. And there's some kind of cultural stuff that they bring in there too. That's awesome. That I thought was really neat. So has like, I mean, it sounds like you kind of have maintained your, I guess, style and all that kind of stuff as a dad, and you kind of talked about kind of being chill and keeping things loose around the house and all that kind of stuff. What has changed about you from becoming a parent?
I've definitely gotten more responsible. I mean, back in the day, I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I had no responsibilities and I was really living for myself. And when this happened, it definitely gave my life like I wouldn't say 360, but I'd say like a 180. I'm definitely more of a family man now. Like everything I do, I put my family first. I put my kids first. Every position that I'm in, I'm like, well, my kids, are they going to think this is okay? So I've definitely changed a lot when it comes to the things that I do and the moves that I make. My attitude's similar. I'm usually always been a pretty chill guy. And I think that just crossed over into my parenting. So, and I think my kids respect that. I think that they know that I'm not going to sit here and yell at them, because if they don't understand, then that's just what it is. So I want to make sure that we get the point across, and if we can talk about it, that's fine. If it doesn't, we can do something else and try to compromise some other way. So
Yeah. Is there like, do you have like specific strategies you use for that? Like, I guess in terms of when those difficult things come up, like this is the eternal struggle as a parent, right? Is like,
right.
maybe those times when you're like, oh, how do I discipline, or how do I like address this tough situation or behavior or things like that? Like, do you have any specific sort of strategies that you guys kind of use?
In most cases, at least for my 5-year-old, it usually kind of works itself out. I mean, she'll throw a fit. She won't agree. That happens. We'll sit her down. If she wants to talk about it, we can talk about it. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, then she can either go, in her room and kind of think about it to herself. And when she's ready, we can kind of figure it out. Or we can just kind of sit in silence until she's ready to talk. And most of the time, almost every time, she wants to go to her room because she just wants to be by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kind of sits there and she'll either fall asleep, or she'll come out and she's ready to talk. And once she's ready to talk, we know that she's, kind of got what we were trying to say to her. And if she doesn't, then we kind of just let her know again, you can't do this. We've told you a certain amount of times that you can't do this. So trying to work with her as much as we can. I'm not the type of guy that's gonna, sit there and yell at you until your head falls off, until you're screaming, crying in my face. So.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't help anyone, right? Like when the situation escalates like that.
Yeah, because they're not going to listen. She has a very hard time listening. So there's some things that she will take and some things that she won't take. So just got to keep that in mind, because it's going to frustrate you if she's not going to listen. It frustrates me so much. So I'm just like, just listen. Do you know what I'm saying? Can you repeat what I'm saying? And sometimes she can't, because she's just all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's a 5-year-old. There's nothing that I can do about that.
Yeah, which is a good point. Like I struggle with it too. Like I totally hear what you're saying. It's so hard. And sometimes like as parents, we like almost want to hold our kids to like an adult standard. And you have to like walk yourself back from that. Like, why am I expecting them to be able to like figure this out? Or like, why didn't you think about this before you did it? Well, it's because they're 6 years old or 5 years old.
Because they don't know. Yeah, they don't know what to do next. They don't know how to answer sometimes. They don't know. If their answer is they don't know, then that's okay. If they don't know right now, it's okay.
Right.
I just try to always keep that, that level with them. But then I'm in a struggle right now, because she'll be like, I want some strawberries. I'm like, okay, let's get some strawberries out of the fridge. And she'll be like, I don't want any strawberries. And I'm like, okay. Then we'll shut the fridge. She's like, wait, no, I want strawberries. Oh my God, I want strawberries. And I'm like, okay, this has like been going on for a whole year now. And I'm just like, you're driving me nuts. I don't know. How do we get rid of this game? My cousin like showed me this way to get rid of it, but I've already forgotten it. And yeah, but my lady does a good job with it.
They're so good at like just finding those little buttons. Hey, like pressing those buttons.
They are. I love them for it.
Yeah, it's kind of neat too. Like I guess to see that independence growing too. That's one thing that's kind of worked for us a little bit. Like with food in particular, that kind of brought back a bit of a memory for me. Like we were dealing with that so much. Like, oh, I want this snack or I want that snack, and it was like finally what we decided to do was like we made a special cupboard where we've got snacks that you can just go get by yourself. Like there's like not a ton of stuff in there, so you can't like eat too much, but just empowering you to go deal with your own problem right now. Nice, and that kind of helped. Like it kind of worked. We have a little section in the fridge. It's like you can reach it. You don't have to get up on a chair and like we're worried you're gonna fall and break your arm. Like so that kind of worked.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. It's nice. Nice little cover. She probably liked that too. Put her own little stickers on it.
Right, there you go. Like make it hers, right? We even did like your own bowls and your own plates in there, like the IKEA stuff or whatever. Nothing's gonna break. Like you can just pull it out and get your own snack ready. It kind of seemed to work pretty well for a little while at least. I know. Then it just becomes like, well, I want different stuff now.
Right. Well, they're getting older. They want to try different stuff. So
yeah. Did you have any fears about becoming a parent?
I did. Yeah, I definitely did not think I was going to, I guess, be as open as that, and my patience wasn't going to be, I guess, as good as it is. And I guess when it came to me being a young kid, my dad wasn't really around a lot, so I wanted to make sure that I could show them that I was around a lot and show them that I could spend a lot of time with them. And it wasn't anything that was against my dad. Like, he was just working a lot. Like, I love my dad. There's nothing there that's weird. It's just he just was working a lot. So I want to make sure that I could show them maybe parts of my childhood that I was sort of missing. So I was scared that I maybe wouldn't be able to do something like that. But I think that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I was thinking way up here when I just didn't even need it. I could just parent. I could do my own parenting, and I can be a great dad on my own, you know. And I read books and stuff, and you know, they all kind of said some of the same stuff. So I just kind of took it after a couple 3 books, and I was like, I can do this. I'll be fine.
Okay. So was the transition difficult at all, or was it kind of like once
Yeah.
baby was there, it was like, okay,
Well,
I can do this.
the pandemic definitely set us up right. So I mean, I would sleep until noon when I didn't have the baby, and then once Ann and I figured everything out and we had the baby, I mean, we kind of set ourselves up. Like, I was up moving with the baby around 4 o'clock when she didn't want to get up, and honestly, I was up a lot. I would let her sleep. Honestly, I would just do whatever I could to make sure that she was comfortable so that I could take care of the baby, because I wanted to be as close as I could to the baby. So the transition was a little bit easier than I honestly expected. I thought it was going to be a lot harder. I want him ready for another one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of people share a kind of similar experience. Like, you're kind of afraid of the unknown, but then once you're in the situation, you just sort of figure it out.
That's right.
Right. And every family unit's a little bit different, and what works for you might be something different than what works for somebody else. And you just kind of figure it out.
Exactly. And the tips are great, you know, talking to other parents and getting, you know, their parenting, you know, advice. And it's always good too, you know, reaching out and talking to all my cousins and stuff, and all my sisters and my brother. So it's good reaching out as parents, and especially as new parents, because we're all going through the same type of thing.
So have you thought, like, I guess over the last couple of years, there hasn't maybe been quite as much going on in terms of the band, like with touring and everything. Now, all that stuff's like ramping up. Probably. Have you thought about, like, what's that going to all look like in terms of balancing all those responsibilities now?
Yeah, definitely a little nervous with that. I think, and I've told my managers this, and booking, that if we are going to do a tour, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do like a 30-day tour. It's going to have to be legs, like 7 days, 12 days, 10 days, something like that. Unless it was something that obviously was, you know, the right gig. Like, say Fall Out Boy's like, hey, come on tour. There's no way I'm going to say no to that, right?
Right.
But as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the regular touring that I'm used to, there's just no way that I can go back to the 30-day in a van with a trailer. It's just, I got kids. It's way too dangerous. First of all, I mean, second of all.
Yeah, that's an interesting comment, actually. I don't know if anyone's ever really said that before, but yeah, you're thinking about like your own safety.
Yeah, I mean, I have been on the road for so long, and I've seen so many things, and I have been this close to dying so many times that I can tell you that traveling in a van across the United States is so unsafe, especially when you're with a bunch of kids and you don't have a driver, and you're all switching off and people are tired, and it just makes no sense at all. And the times are changing. You don't have to do that anymore. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's artists that are making money just off Spotify. They don't have to do anything. So now it's a whole different ball game. And I think that hammering out, you know, the specific big shows we could have, LA to Sacramento to Portland to Seattle, call it a day. You know, that sounds great to me. You know, I don't need to do a whole loop and a circle and a flip, you know?
Right. Yeah, but it's funny how like your perspective has shifted. So obviously you're prioritizing your family. You want to be at home more with your family and provide the support that you need to, but then you're also thinking about your health and like your longevity, I guess, or whatever, like for your kids too.
Because I know that she's going to be struggling at home, and she has a job, you know, so I want to make sure that if I am gone, I can repay it back by coming home, and I'm not gone for 30 days because I've been in a van, you know. I don't know. I just don't. That's not something that I'm interested in.
That's something I hear a lot on this show is, you know, artists talking about kind of the touring life is really challenging as a parent. And a lot of people kind of take the same approach as you. Maybe not some bands can dictate their schedule totally. Others, it's like, well, you kind of got to go with like, what's offered to us, that kind of thing. But
Right.
Inevitably, almost everybody sort of talks about that, like downtime when you are home and getting, like, you might be working super hard, you're away from your family for a while, but then when you're home, you're just home.
Right.
And that is kind of like a special thing that, not everybody has too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think for us, because you're saying, if like say that I was in a brand new band that had no fans, and I was trying to make this my career, but I also had, my family that I have now. It's just so hard to do, because back when I started, when I was in the band, I was on the road 250 days out of the year, and that was just to get a name out, and I know that it's a different world now with the internet, but being in a new band with so many outlets and so many ways to do things, it's hard. And some bands are still doing that. Some bands are still hitting the road 30 days or 250 days out of the year. And I see them, and sometimes it gets them nowhere. And I just think to myself, like, how can you to do this another way? Because you're spending so much time away from where I'm just very lucky that Anarbor's been a band for a long time, and we're established, and we have a solid fan base. Because if it wasn't for that, then I probably wouldn't be in a band. Honestly, I wouldn't take that career route. I just wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, I think it's really challenging, and this, definitely not my expertise necessarily, but like, yeah, the music industry is totally changed, right? Like you can't just really grind it out on the road anymore. Like, you got to be like on social media, and that's like a whole separate thing. You got to do TikTok, and you got to like, it's like a whole different beast. Singles now, it's not all about albums. It's,
exactly.
singles.
It's all about singles. Yeah. Like, for instance, we're coming out with a new record, and I mean, in 2015, we just got off Hopeless, and I was like, let's put a record out. I just released a record out of nowhere. Now it's like we have to trickle every single out for 5 months, and then the record comes out, and we have to have assets for every single that are like, a whole photo shoot for every one, a whole music video. It's like the whole process is insane. And that's usually how it is when you have a record label, right? But now that we're independent, and it's like a whole different ballgame, it's a whole different business. So it's definitely changed a lot. And for the good, sure. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I know that kids are still listening to Anarbor, and I'm just super blessed for that. So,
right. Yeah. It's a totally new industry, a new way of looking at the industry for sure. And makes it that much more challenging for the artists, right? Like, things that historically the label was worried about, like, yeah, you got to worry about maintaining your social media and stuff now, and all of that, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, everything's ran by us now. So if something's slacking, we got to get up there and jump on it real quick. And it's what it is. It's part of the business.
Do you schedule that? Like, do you sort of like schedule it like a work day at all, or how do you kind of manage that?
Not necessarily. Our guitar player Danny is really good about it as well. I try to jump on and be more personal, so I'll jump on and like ask questions and stuff. Danny like works later in the night sometimes, so he's up during the day, and he'll be jumping on socials and stuff. And if they need anything from me, then I'll absolutely do it. I try to stay involved as much as I can, but got a little bit more on my plate over here, so sometimes I'm not always free. Yeah.
Right. That's what I was kind of curious about, like how you kind of manage that schedule, and that'll probably evolve over the next little while too, as you guys like, you're pushing out some singles, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but a new album coming out, and touring, and all of that kind of ramping back up. Meanwhile, your kids are getting older, and things are changing, and there's new experiences, and lessons, and whatever else is going on, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. It's definitely difficult, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see what the future will bring, especially with Anarbor and my kids.
And you made a comment a little bit earlier about your dad, and sounds like becoming a parent yourself, like you've kind of reflected a little bit on what it was like growing up for you, and maybe your relationship with your dad, like as kind of a father figure, and thinking about it in the context of you as a parent. Like, what are some of those things you took away? You mentioned that that you wanted to be more present, like kind of more around. And I think that's pretty common, like even just as a generational thing, right? Like, it kind of used to be like the dad, had to work, and that was the big focus, like bring home the bacon and whatever. So that's a pretty common experience there too. But like, how have you kind of, I guess, brought that into your parenting now, reflecting on your relationship with your dad?
My dad, he was a great supporter. So whatever we needed, he definitely took care of. And my mom was always, happy and taken care of. So I definitely try to bring that over from my dad. It's just being a good supporter, always being the rock that, they needed, whether you
Yep.
could be there or not, Um, but I mean, when it comes to, he was a hard worker. So I always just want to stay a hard worker when it comes to that stuff. Try to be around with my kids more, obviously, just because he wasn't there a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah. Give them those kind of that one-on-one time or whatever.
Just whatever they need, just
Yeah.
because I know that as a kid, if I was always, either at childcare or I was, in school or with my mom, and then my dad would come home at night and he'd always bring us candy or whatever, he'd always have a gift for us and stuff, which was always cool. We always look forward to it. But I mean, even on Christmas, he was working. My dad was a farmer, so he was like,
Okay.
that's my family grew up in like the, agricultural business. So we have a farm out in Arizona. And so he always had to be there for the sheep, the cattle, the watermelon, the cotton, all that stuff. He was always, um, always trying to be there and take care of. So me, I guess joining in a band wasn't his favorite thing. Obviously, I was,
Interesting.
supposed to be a farmer or something, but he was always supportive and he always was there for me whenever I needed him. So I always want to be that rock,
Yeah. Cool.
just a little bit more. Maybe it could be there a little bit more,
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, it's not like no slight against our parents when we say, oh, we'd like to do this a little bit different or a little bit better or, whatever. Like, that was also a different time then. And like you said,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
farming, that's a 24/7 gig. Like,
Literally, yeah,
you're maybe not
literally.
out in the field or whatever 24/7, but you're thinking about it, and you're
Oh,
thinking about the
absolutely.
weather and like all of that. It's
Everything comes into play, and especially if that's where he's making all of his money,
yeah.
it was super important. And that was when he was like hard in it, at that time. So, and I don't hold anything against him at all. But I think for me, I have a little bit more of an interesting situation because of my job. I'm
Yeah.
in a band. I'm home more right now, and I'll probably be gone a little bit more in the future. But I'm lucky I get to see my kids more than maybe the average guy. I'm just lucked out a little bit more, I think. I
Is
took
your
a different career.
is your family still farming?
Yes, they are. However, Arizona's growing like crazy right now. So um, we'll see how long we can hang on, without having to get rid of or sell or whatever, It's just crazy how fast this city is expanding. And even like the outside cities are like starting to get closer and closer together. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, like in the Phoenix area, that's like it's like
It's
a
yeah,
ton of huge kind of like suburbs kind of around there
right,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they're all getting bigger. I mean,
Yeah,
as big
growing
as they
closer,
can, I
right?
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as much as they can. I mean, our farm is like, I'd say 15 to an hour away, and they're creeping up. I mean, it's like not an hour away anymore because you hit city, you hit there's Panda Express now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, to sort of see how that evolves. So I'm from well, I'm in Edmonton, but originally from Medicine Hat, which is a small town sort of south of here. Lots of farming around
Okay.
there, and yeah, it's the same kind of
Okay.
thing. Like, I mean, also like climate change that's happening too. That's affecting farming, and it's
Yeah.
just a really, I mean, even like the research into GMO kind of stuff, like all of that stuff, it's gotten a lot more complicated, a lot more sophisticated too, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, if it were run the way that it was, back then now, it would never swing because people are just so much more into what they're eating and they want to know all this stuff. So honestly, I mean, he did a lot of livestock. I think he only does livestock now. So they
okay,
cut all the cotton and all the, all the other stuff out. So we definitely had to trial and error a bunch of stuff, but like I said, they've been hanging on for a minute, so we'll see. We'll see how long we can go until we have to sell. But
cool. I guess to bring it back to sort of that parenting discussion, I'm curious, as a relatively new dad, you've got a 1.5-year-old, 1.5-year-old. That's a weird way to say it.
1.5.
1.75-year-old.
It's how your brain thinks that.
So kind of reflecting back on that, like I guess what are the most rewarding things about being a dad?
Ooh, man.
Big question.
I mean, every day is rewarding, I'll be honest. Like every day is just a new journey and he does something new. It's like every day. I can't even tell you the things because it's just everything. Like the way that he can communicate to me, the way every day changes. Like every day is different, especially when they're this age. I mean, he grew up really quickly. Obviously, I didn't realize how fast because everybody's like, it's gonna happen quick, but man, the year and a half went by so quick.
Yeah.
So I mean, just thinking back on that, just watching him grow up and watching him turn into the little boy, it's like, God, it gets me all sad.
Yeah, it's neat. And like
Yeah.
you kind of almost forget, like even
Yeah,
things that
seriously.
are like 6 months ago, you kind of forget like what it was like.
Seriously, I go back on my phone trying to, look up stuff for socials or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I get stuck on a picture. I'm like, this is what he looked like, 2 months ago. What the heck? It's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
they do.
His
Like that's like,
hair, it's crazy.
yeah, that's like the like cliche advice that everyone gives you, right? Like they grow up so fast, like make sure to pay
Man,
attention and
isn't
savor
that
every moment. And man, it's like it's so true.
it's just right on the dot. And I'll say to everybody too, like, man, it happens really quick and it doesn't stop. It literally does not stop.
Yeah.
Just keeps going. It's like a timestamp on my life now. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
crazy. Aren't we lucky though to have like our phones and stuff, like to
Oh
take all
yeah.
these pictures and videos and
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can capture whatever I want right in front of me. Like I wish I could watch videos of me when I was younger, Like
yeah,
I wish, I think about that. I'm like, I wish that they had this. I mean, they had like little ones and you see it every once in a while, but it's only like a day, It's not
right.
like the whole year. Like Apple can throw a whole year together for me by pressing a button and it'll be like your year in a nutshell.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, they just made a slideshow for me. I can show my son later, It's like crazy, man.
it's so
It's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
So let's shift gears a little bit. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with Anarbor. So release the first single from the upcoming album, so Drugs, which is
Right.
a jam. It's awesome.
Oh,
We
thanks. Hell yeah.
listen to it a lot around the house.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're loving it. Video's great.
Thanks.
And you're about to release another single. So yeah, tell me what's going on with the band.
Yeah. So let's see. We haven't released a full length since 2015. In between then, we had some member changes. And then I added a guy named Danny Stravers to the band. He was an excellent songwriter, excellent guitar player. We cut it to just the two of us. We released a couple EPs between 2015 and 2000 now. But during the pandemic, we kind of were sitting back and we went into the studio and we wanted to do a full record and we went in and it wasn't exactly what we thought. So we had to go back and do a whole another one and kind of circling back and getting all these songs that we wrote and kind of pushing the best ones together. In my opinion, it was like a great way to go about it because, you can pick and choose rather than just going in and writing 10 songs, being like, well, I don't really like this one, but it's okay. I'm really excited because it's just been so long and I know that the last record Without Any Help did really great and all the listeners really liked it. So I'm hoping that we can bring what we did is we brought back a little bit of nostalgia rock to this one to kind of give it that nostalgic feel to it. But yeah, I'm excited. We got that Drug single that came out last month, and now we have a new single coming out called Letter in a Suitcase that's going to be I think at the end of it's already April, at the end of this month, like the 22nd, I think. So we got a video ready.
Tell me about the
everything ready
video.
to go.
So or tell the listeners about the video. I've seen the video. It's
Oh,
awesome.
you have? Oh, right
Yeah.
on, man. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So this is for me the first time we've ever had like kind of like a short film type style, I guess, video. But man, like we're dressed in suits. Basically, the song's called Letter in a Suitcase, and we have this suitcase that we're trying to keep away from this crazy chick that's kind of like Kill Bill style. She's got like an eye patch. This chick's like super badass. She's got like 2 swords. She's on a bike, basically trying to kill me and Danny. And it's just a whole kind of drag until she kind of gets us, and you'll have to see it. But
yeah,
I mean, there's blood and stuff. It's kind of like a short film. Honestly, I've never done something like this. Usually, it's not like the typical music video where we're just like, it's like I had to act, which is pretty funny. I've never acted. And then after that, the director was like, hey man, you're gonna be the main dude in my movie coming up. So
no
now
way.
I got an acting gig out of it, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. So
I know, it's pretty funny.
It's a great video. Like I can't wait until it gets released and people can see it. So I'm curious who came up with the concept, because you mentioned Kill Bill. This is like a definitely an homage to Quentin Tarantino. Like
Yes.
it's kind of a mashup, right? Of like kind of
Yeah.
Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. Like there's some very
Pulp
direct
Fiction. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction for
Yes.
sure with the suitcase, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a huge Tarantino fan. So when I pressed play on the video, I had no idea, right? I pressed play on the video and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so
Nice,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
I can't wait for people to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian over at 40 volts, well, ahead of this, so what we wanted to do when it came to the music videos is we kind of wanted to send it to somebody and them kind of pitch us an idea rather than us kind of directing,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense. So we were like, hey man, this is the song. We want you to do the video. Come up with whatever you want, because we just want the artist to do their thing, because I'm not a music director guy, or video guy. So do your thing. And he sent us back this whole, script. And he was like, if you guys can do this, we can keep it, under budget and we can make it work. And I was like, let's do it. This is amazing. And yeah, Brian over at 40 volt, he's super talented guy, really, really talented videographer guy. And he just absolutely knocked it out of the park, like
Totally.
completely. Yeah, I was like shocked when I saw it. And it took a couple minutes for him to finish it. So I was like, I can't wait to see this. But my family's like, oh my gosh, you're like an actor. I'm like, I'm barely saying a few words. Get out of here. It's just, they've never seen me like this. So they're all weird about it.
Yeah. It turned out so good. It's just like totally captivating. And for anybody, if you are like a Quentin Tarantino fan, like there's lots of like little Easter eggs in there that are like
Yes,
a total nod.
That's all Brian, man. Like he went in and he was like, check this out. This part is like kind of like this part and this. And I'm like, dude, you nerded out on this completely. And I love it, because people that have seen those movies are going to completely understand.
Oh yeah, they'll love it.
Cool. So it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
I mean, going back, about the other music videos, I know you didn't ask, but that's what we did for all of them. So we have another one coming up that we sent to, it's called Honeymoon in Tokyo.
Okay.
We sent it to over in Japan to like these videographers over there. And we were like, just do whatever. And they did, and it turned out absolutely amazing. So that's another one that I can't wait to release. It's so cool not being a part of this and then seeing the outcome at the end. It's really cool. Yeah,
that's really cool, because I think, I don't know, that's probably a difficult thing as a band. Like you want to kind of like have control over certain things, but obviously you've sort of seen the benefits of handing off some of that control.
I don't need to be in the video. Like I was telling the people in Japan, like, just do your thing. You guys can have characters. Like, I do not care what you do. Like, if you need me to be in it or me and Danny be in it, we can maybe work something out, but just do your thing. Don't even think about us. And they smashed it.
Yeah.
They smashed it. It's great. Yeah.
I love that music videos have kind of like over the last couple of years, it feels like made a bit of a comeback. Like,
yeah,
I mean, YouTube was big for a long time. And so it was kind of like bands were doing lots of lyric videos, and that was kind of what you were seeing for a while. And now it feels like videos are coming back in a big way. And
I agree.
Yeah, I think you guys have done such an awesome job. The ones that have been released lately,
Thanks,
Drugs,
man.
and then Letter in a Suitcase hasn't come out yet, but yeah, so great.
Yeah. And also with Drugs, like Corey Davis is a homie of mine since I was in grade school.
Yeah.
And he's always kind of worked with us with our videos. And we came to him, we're like, we kind of want like an MTV style type of thing. And he also crushed that one out of the park too. So it's just, honestly, I'm probably more prepared for a record than I ever have been, because all the videos are done. We're just waiting on a couple, things here and there, and we're ready to go. So it's really nice.
So you talked about like sort of, releasing singles kind of one at a time and then kind of dropping the album. Do you guys have an album kind of release date yet, or have you thought about that?
So, yeah, so September, I know it's a summer release.
Okay.
Summer release. So August or September, I believe, is what's going to happen. It could change, but I think that's what it's going to be right now.
Okay, cool. And then some touring plans and stuff like that. What else is going on?
So right now we don't have any touring plans. I think right now what we're waiting on is to solidify a show in Phoenix for the release. So we're just gonna hype a mega show. I think if we play any in Phoenix at least too soon, it'll hurt our draw at least in the long run when it comes to the album release. But I want to make sure that's like the main focus, right? So
yeah.
I mean, we might hit a show here in California, in the next couple months or something, or like, Texas or something. But right now, we don't have anything planned. So
just kind of patiently waiting, kind of building up the anticipation for the release of the album.
Yeah, man. I feel like my whole life has just been, just doing it because I've been told to do it and I just do it. And then I'm like, what did I get out of that? So for me to have control is like, it's great and I feel great. And if I don't want to tour and we aren't going to get anything out of the tour, then why are we going to do it anyway? Let's just focus on the release. Let's focus on a big show.
Yeah.
Let's hit a couple shows here and there. Like there's no need to do a whole freaking tour about this. Like I just don't think we can do a live concert online for all I care. So people can come in and stream and listen. Like we've already talked about it, might be in the works. So like there's other ways to do it now. There's just is, plain and simple.
Yeah, maybe there's this like shift from like being this reactionary thing, just like, oh man, we got the album, we got to go tour, we got to do whatever, and you're like, running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And now it's more preparatory. You're kind of like prepared and like what's going on. That there's like a bit of a connection to parenting too, right? Like how you approach being prepared for things. You kind of have to do that. So
trust me, I got his diaper bag ready to go.
Yeah,
I'm the king of that thing.
Nice.
Whenever we're ready to go.
Yeah, you got to have like the backup diapers in the vehicle, and you got to change of clothes and all that kind of stuff. So
whole thing, things that it only comes with experience.
Yeah, exactly. You make that mistake once.
You never forget. I need a change of clothes. Never forget.
Yeah, we reminds me of, we like made these for our car seats. Like you had like one blowout or whatever. And then we made these kind of covers for them. We bought these mats like that you would normally put in a crib, like a waterproof mat. Yeah. And then we like cut it out to fit in the car seat and like hooked it over the buckles or whatever. And it's cool. Like, oh man, yeah, that was such a great idea. We should like sell this.
Yeah, you guys, I was gonna say that's a good idea, bro. Nice.
So awesome. Well, I'm super stoked. Like super stoked on the drug single. Like I said, Letter in a Suitcase is killer. Can't wait for people to see the video. Stoked for you guys to have an amazing year coming up, and hopefully things with the whole pandemic and whatever that just kind of continues to fade out and allow you guys to do what you need to do.
How's it over there? Is it still pretty strict over there with the...
Well, no, like, so I'm in, well, I think most of Canada is kind of the same. Like it seems like we're starting to see some case numbers go up. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Like it doesn't seem here too, but it doesn't seem, at least right at this moment, like the hospitals have been affected too much. And it seems like that's the metric that we're using now. It's not really cases. It's kind of, because everybody's vaccinated and whatever. So, it's about the hospital. So I guess we'll sort of see, but right now we don't really have any major restrictions or anything like that. It's kind of back to normal. And so everybody's kind of, I guess, like navigating, like, do I want to wear a mask when I go into the grocery store? Do I not? And so everybody's kind of figuring out what feels right and natural. Okay. So
nice. Okay.
Similar down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting more. I mean, people are getting. They'll get mad if they have to wear it anywhere now. So you'll walk into the grocery store and somebody's yelling at somebody because they're. I don't know. It's just. I'm just ready to kind of just let it phase out. It's kind of the same over here, like you were saying. Yeah, nobody really knows. There's like, do I wear my mask? Do I not? Is somebody gonna yell at me? I have one on me if I need to wear it. Sorry.
The craziest thing, like I find the toughest thing really is like, as a parent, like. Kids get sick all the time. So this is like the toughest part right now is like, I don't know, my 3-year-old's in daycare. And so it's like, there's always something, like always a runny nose or whatever. And so for 2 years, it was like, you get a runny nose, like you got to stay home. It's like, a huge emergency, right? And now it's kind of starting to go back a little bit. Like, I drop her off at daycare and there's some kid like in the corner coughing or whatever. And I'm just like, well, like, what can I do about that?
It's just what it is. So it is. But
any advice out there for parents or maybe dads to be?
Ooh,
put you on the spot right at the end here.
Yeah, no, you're good. Don't overthink it. Trust your gut. I mean, kids are people. They're just like us. They're not just like us, but they want to be. So just be a good influence and don't overthink it. Don't lose your patience. Try not to lose your patience. Just try to be as calm as you can. And just try to help them understand, because that's all they're trying to do. So
that's great advice.
Thank you.
I like the comment. They want to be just like us. Like, I think they're watching, right? So that's kind of what you were saying there. They're just watching. And so just, keep your
I'm watering the
your
plants.
calm.
Next thing I know, my son's with the empty water bottle trying to water the plants. I'm like,
Yes.
just the little stuff, everything, everything that you do, they're gonna watch, they're gonna see. So.
Yeah, they're learning. So, oh man, thank you so much. It's been awesome talking to you. I'm super
Yeah.
stoked for what's coming for the band this year. And yeah, I wish you all the best and all the best to your family.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. This was great. Honestly, this is one of my favorite interviews ever because I got to talk about my kids. So thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Yeah, we love talking about our
it.
kids, right? It's great.
I do. I just want to tell everybody about my kids, but I can't because I know not everybody wants to hear about kids. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.